Hi everyone. So what I want to do today is talk about something that kind of quietly sits beneath almost every person's struggle with weight loss, and it's a strange subject which many people ignore, which is rest. Um, and it doesn't. I'm not referring to rest in the sense of not sleeping, not having days off, but the belief that you're only allowed to rest once you've been disciplined enough, consistent enough, or good enough, on your journey. And it, this belief run really deep, and it can get in a lot of people's way because when food has felt like a problem, rest can feel really dangerous. It's like if you dare to relax, then you might lose control. If you stop monitoring yourself, everything will unravel. These are the kind of fears that are in a lot of people's minds who are trying to lose weight. And so what most people tend to do in terms of getting into great shape is they approach it as a constant effort. Okay, so they're efforting all the time, and that's how they approach things. They want to manage cravings. They are always on the alert to watch out for the choices that they make and correcting any slip-ups that occur. So the important thing that they're trying to do is stay on track. Now, when you effort like that, when you effort for at such a high level for too long, then the system gets tired, and the system being you. And that's when the urges that you face become louder. And that's when emotional eating will show up. And people say to themselves, I just don't know what came over me. But here's the key insight. That wasn't a lack of willpower. That was just a tired system trying to find relief in some kind of way. Now, if you've been on the Light Minds program, you'll know I use the snow globe as a metaphor quite a lot. And every time you tell yourself, I mustn't miss this up, or I have to be strict to myself, I can't afford another slip. Might not sound it initially to you, but that's like shaking the snow globe. And thoughts will swirl around. That's when the conflict comes in and the urges intensify. Um, and food feels really charged and emotional. Now, here's the important part. When you place the snow globe down, when you allow rest to occur, you don't have to fight. You don't have to argue with yourself. You don't have to organize anything. Everything settles by itself. So when your thinking settles, cravings often lose their edge. Not because you were able to resist them, but because the pressure has dropped, the urge is gone. Now, many people get confused because they see rest as giving up, but it isn't letting yourself go. It isn't stepping off the journey. It's not stepping off the rails. Rest is what allows your natural wisdom around food and exercise, whatever you're doing there, to come back online. See, when you're rested, everything's quietening down. So the hunger cues that you get make much more sense. Choices feel simpler. You're much less reactive. You don't need to negotiate with yourself all the time because you're not in conflict with yourself all the time. And that's why often in light minds, you hear me say, I just didn't, someone says, I just didn't feel like eating it, or I noticed I'd had enough. And those changes that had taken place are not about discipline, they're about clarity. Yeah, I probably didn't say that too well. So, so what happens? One of the key things that differentiates um, light minds from other mindset programs is that you're not working on your mindset, but you are working on your mindset. And by doing it as we do it here, you're not having to learn things, you're not having to apply things, but through seeing things differently inside yourself, inside your innate intelligence, what happens is the system changes and you end up doing things and then you go, oh, I'm doing this differently. I don't have an urge for this food anymore. I'm finding it comfortable to go to the gym or whatever. That's all taken place. Now, for that to happen, you need clarity. For you to have clarity, you need to be able to rest. Now, there are some practical things that, yeah, you can do. Before your next meal, for example, pause. 30 seconds could be enough. Put your feet on the floor, take a breath, and then just let that internal snow globe settle. And it's not about deciding what you should eat. It's about just arriving. It's just being in the right place. And then notice, does the urgency feel the same? Does the choice that you want to make feel lighter? None of this is about forcing change. You're allowing the space for clarity to show up. You see, it's a journey and it can be a long journey because you're unraveling your conditioning, these behaviors that have been around for some time. Now, if you want a short-term fix, this isn't it. But the thing about the short-term fixes, as I'm pretty certain you'll know, is you go back each time. See, weight loss doesn't happen when you push harder. It happens when your system feels safe enough to settle. And you don't have to earn rest. Not on this journey. See, rest doesn't derail the process. It doesn't derail your progress either. It supports it. And in fact, you could argue it's a key part of the process. People that are successful in many, many things recognize the power of rest. So, so go lightly as you go about this week, trying to do the things that you think you need to do. Your mind and body are learning together. And when you stop shaking up the snow globe, you may be surprised how naturally things will just fall into place, how relatively effortlessly things fall into place, and then see what actually happens. Okay, folks, I hope you found that useful.